back for the 4th installment of the Archive series. I'm so excited to tell you the complete story of Survivor Durant Season 4. A lot of things have changed in between Seasons 3 and 4. For instance, we are no longer a fundraiser for mission trips, and now Survivor Durant is solely a passion project. I felt a new pressure on my shoulders. Creating an LRG is a reflection upon your individual creativity. And I knew that as long as it was a fundraiser, no one would care too much. But now I have a new target audience. Because of this, I took an extra year off of hosting Survivor to do more in-depth planning, looking further into the future to not only incorporate what directions I'd like to go for this LRG, but also to demonstrate an evolution, taking a concept and building upon it, to ultimately set a stage for a battle only the best can be a part of. I conceptualized 5 unique themes and twists for 5 upcoming Survivor games. The first being filled with misinformation and lies, forcing players to discern what is truth and what is not, keeping them on their toes constantly. At the time, I was living with Survivor Durant legend, Briar, and I know you guys want to see him play again. Sorry to break your hearts, but Briar actually helped make this game. I told him a little bit about the premise of Season 4, and he was all for it. He helped me come up with a lot of different ways that we could trick and mess with players for Season 4. And after a while, it became known as Terror of the Troll. Terror of the Troll was played in June 2019, 2 years since Season 3. On the front lawn of our local college campus. The front lawn area was the site of every tribal council and every challenge. To the left and to the right of the front lawn area was many different classroom buildings, and each side would be the site of a tribal camp. While it's not your traditional jungle and forest, these urban-style tribal camps proved to be very effective in letting players run off and do their own thing, have side conversations, and be hidden throughout the many different buildings. Also located at each camp was a locked box. To open the box, you would have to walk around your camp and discover different numbers from 0 to 9. Every number you found at your camp you knew was not a part of the combination to open the box. Once you have the 3 missing numbers, you just input them into the lock pad and the box will open. But what is inside? We'll talk about that later. I thought it was extremely appropriate that the first Survivor Durant game featured 8 players, and this grand reboot did the same, although it was not planned. About 10 people dropped out the day of, but that's okay. We made it happen. Everyone that came out to play Survivor was told that they were showing up to a summer-themed Olympic-style contest. So everyone was trolled right out the gate, and instead they showed up for the return of Survivor Durant. Now, unlike the other 3 previous games, this one featured no advantage hidden in the city, but it did feature 2 returning players. I also have to mention that this game would have not been possible if it weren't for Jacob. He brought 3 extra people with him to this event, and you have to believe that him and his close friends are gonna be working together. Even though this Quack Pack makes up half the cast for the season, they're gonna have a huge target on their back because they all arrived together. First, on the Green Tribe, also known as the Ogre Tribe, we have the returning Mason, a new player named Autumn, and 2 of Jacob's friends, Oliver and Matt. While on the Blue Tribe, also known as the Smurf Tribe, we have the returning Nate, and we know how close Nate and Mason are, as well as a new player named Jimmy. Jacob himself is on this tribe, as well as his friend Dylan. Not to be confused with Dylan from seasons 1, 2, and 3. For the first challenge, we played a Survivor Durant classic, Netflix and Chill. Players would have to run from a starting line to a safety line about 15 feet away, and 15 more feet beyond that was an envelope with the word advantage written on it. There was only one player who noticed this envelope, and that was Mason. So he picked his moment, and at the right time, sneakily went back out of the way 15 feet beyond the safety line to rip off the envelope that said advantage and put it into his pocket. I don't know how he didn't get caught. Everyone from both tribes was facing him the whole time, but I guess in the chaos of the challenge, they never noticed. But that's where Mason and the Ogre tribe's good fortune stopped, because they ended up losing the challenge, which means the Smurf tribe wins, and they get the immunity statue, which is a little garden gnome named Fiddlefoot, though he would tell you he's a troll. This is very important, because Fiddlefoot, the little troll, was holding a key in his hand. We'll find out what, too, later. The morale on the Smurf tribe was at an all-time high, and they were working together to find all the missing numbers at their campsite to try to open up the lockbox. And they did successfully, together. Inside was an incomplete advantage that has no power until all 3 pieces are collected. It was called Pandora's Box. Each piece had a different name. First was Pan B, then Duo, and finally Roz X. The only information attached to the advantage is, if you are voted out, you must will it to another player still in the game, and it has no power until there are 3 players left in the game. What is this mysterious advantage? What twists does it bring into the game? Well, if you stick around, you'll find out in the final 3. But for now, someone had to claim it. And it was clear that Jimmy had opened the box, but Jacob was very adamant that he had a lot to do with it. So after some bickering, Jimmy just decided to let Jacob have it. So Jacob got the first piece of Pandora's box, Pan B. Not only that, but Jimmy also discovered the location to the hidden immunity idol. It was shackled to the bottom of the shrub that he found it at, so it required a key. If only we knew where a key was. That's right! Fiddlefoot, the immunity statue, had a key attached to him. Jimmy caught on quickly, unlocked the shackle, and gained the hidden immunity idol. However, it came at the cost of everyone knowing that he had it. Meanwhile, on the Ogre tribe, things were going a little bit crazy. Mason was MIA, while Autumn was stuck pandering with Oliver and Matt. You see, Mason was super worried about this advantage that he found. He couldn't wait to get alone and to read it. And boy, when he did, he was in for quite a surprise. Because when he opened the advantage, it said, "This is just a piece of paper. You've been trolled." And in the time that Mason took to read his false advantage, he also discovered the location of the hidden immunity idol, which was shackled to the bottom of a shrub, and it needed a key, so it was of no use to him at this time. Nobody worried about opening the lockbox. They were more worried about going to tribal council, and there was not a whole lot of time to get a plan together. But luckily, Oliver stepped up and took one for the team, telling everyone to vote for them. So, Mason and Autumn obliged Oliver, voting them out. And, surprisingly, Matt did too, and Oliver was the first one gone. For the next immunity challenge, it's a Survivor classic, an eating challenge, and I know everyone was so excited for it. The first round, I said it's going to be a gross food, so Nate and Mason stepped forward, and it was rotten eggs and pickled pig's feet. Nate was not having it, but I said all you had to do was eat a little bit more than your opponent. So Mason just took a little nibble and therefore won the first round. For round 2, I said bring forth your best chugger. So Autumn came to represent the Ogre tribe and Jacob stepped forward representing the Smurf tribe. But I said you were trolled, and instead this is a hot pepper eating contest. Jacob wasn't having it. It was a serrano pepper, so Autumn took the point for that one. Now it's the first team to 3 points, so if the Ogre tribe gets 1 more point, they win already. So Matt stepped forward for the Ogre tribe, and Dylan stepped forward for the Smurf. And it was a chugging contest. Man, did Jimmy take the wrong challenge to sit out in, because Dylan had a feeling in the back of his tooth, and it was very sensitive to cold. And did I mention the thing that they were chugging was an icy? So Matt took it down no problem. Ogre tribe wins immunity. And then I threw in another twisty twist. You see, this is a perfect time to have a tribe swap. We've already established that the Ogre tribe has 1 immunity and that there are 3 members of the Ogre tribe. So we're going to have a random tribe swap. And whichever 3 players are so lucky enough to get on the Ogre tribe will be safe. Man, in this game, even when you win immunity, you still get trolled. Mason and Matt were both fortunate enough to stay on the Ogre tribe and relish the victory that they had earned. Can't say the same for Autumn. And the third member of the Ogre tribe was Mason's bestie, Nate. Uh-oh. On the new Ogre tribe, surprisingly, Mason and Nate didn't talk a whole lot of strategy with each other. You see, they had an unspoken understanding with each other that they will watch each other's backs no matter what. Something that doesn't need to be worded. That's pretty scary. Mason also realized he finally had the immunity statue with him at camp, and the key along with it. So he put along a clever ruse, saying that this should be with me because I've never won immunity before, snuck away, and unlocked the hidden immunity idol. Meanwhile, Matt did some unlocking of his own, unlocked the lockbox, and got the second piece of Pandora's box. Do-o. The new Smurf tribe was rather calm, featuring Jimmy, Autumn, Dylan, and Jacob. And you would think that there would be a 2-2 split here come tribal council. Not the case. You see, I guess Dylan was so inspired by Oliver falling on the sword that he decided to do something similar. And once again, we had a unanimous vote. Dylan, the second person booted out of Season 4. We are down to our top 6. 3 members on each tribe. But I know what you're thinking. Yes. It's time to merge. Gotta have the merge. The dynamics of the merge. First, we have Jacob and his best friend Matt. One pair. Then, you have co-workers Jimmy and Autumn. They're a pair. And of course, the 2 veterans, Mason and Nate. So, we have 3 pairs. Jimmy and Nate also got along splendidly during their time at the Smurf tribe. And the same could be said for Autumn and Mason when they were together on the Ogre tribe. So in a way, we have a strong group of 4, and Jacob and Matt are on the outside. Also, it doesn't help that within the first 10 minutes of the game, I guess Jacob thought that he just needed to be overly honest. He walked up right to Nate, same tribe, and said, "Hey Nate, I just want you to know, I don't trust you." In a game that revolves around trust, why would you say that? From the earliest moments of the game, Nate was always worried about Jacob because of that comment. And now it's the merge. Jimmy currently has a hidden immunity idol. Mason currently has a hidden immunity idol. And to make matters a little bit more complicated, as a little congratulations on making it to merge, I gave all 6 of the remaining players an envelope. Each envelope had something different inside. They were locations to different advantages because there were still advantages that never got found on both tribes. Both tribe camps had a double vote advantage, and both tribe camps also had a cancel vote advantage. Mason's envelope led him to the exact location of where a double vote advantage would be for the Smurf side, and Jacob's gave him the location of a cancel vote on the Smurf side. They looked together, and somehow Mason never found his double vote advantage, but Jacob did find his cancel vote advantage. Jimmy's envelope led him to the double vote advantage on the Ogre side, but he never found it. And Matt's envelope led him to a cancel vote on the Ogre side, and he also never found it. Nate's envelope was empty, and Autumn's envelope led her to the location of the merged hidden immunity idol, and she found it. Now there were 3 players with a hidden immunity idol in the game. Even though Nate's envelope was empty, he didn't waste any time just sitting around. You see, when merged was announced, it opened up the back section connecting the 2 tribes, an area that was previously prohibited. When Nate got there, he discovered a 3rd locked box, was able to open it, and got the final piece of Pandora's box, Ra's X. For the immunity challenge, the players had to plank over an egg, going low enough to hold it in place over the chest and making sure it doesn't roll away. The winner of this endurance competition was Matt, guaranteeing himself a spot in the final 5. When it came down to the voting, Mason was right in the middle. He was getting intel both from Jacob and Matt's side, as well as from Jimmy, Autumn, and Nate. Jacob told Mason about his cancel vote advantage, and because of that, Mason was able to make a plan to get around it. When it was time to read the votes, the first 2 were for Nate, and the next 3 were for Jacob. So, Jacob used his advantage and canceled one of his votes against him. But the last vote in the urn was also for Jacob, making it 3-2, sending him home. In the final 5 immunity challenge, players had to stand on a bench with 1 foot off the ground, holding a board in their hand with a ball on top. So they're balancing a ball on a board while themselves are balancing on a bench. The winner of this circus act was Mason, guaranteeing himself a spot in the final 4. Now, Nate, Mason, Autumn, and Jimmy got together and decided that the obvious was going to happen. Matt was about to go home. And Jimmy wanted to make sure that his newfound friendship with Nate would stay intact. And Jimmy announced to everyone that he's going to play his hidden immunity idol for Nate at Tribal Council. Mason sees how close Jimmy and Nate are, so an idea pops in his head. He knows that Autumn would never betray Jimmy, but he knows someone who might. He went up to the only available free agent at this point in the game. That's right, Matt. And Mason tells him to vote for Jimmy at the upcoming Tribal Council. This is great for Mason. Should Jimmy go, that would mean Nate would solely be loyal to him, and Autumn would become a free agent herself. But before we go to Tribal Council, someone gets a little present from the other side. You see, when Jacob was voted out of the game, he had to give his Pandora's box piece, Pan B, to someone else still in the game, and he willed it to Jimmy. Whenever Jacob opened the box and got the Pandora's box piece, Jimmy was right there. So that's why Jacob decided to give it to Jimmy, because Jimmy almost got it anyway. So Jimmy has the first piece, Pan B, Matt has the second, Do O, and Nate has the third piece, Roz X. And now, someone's about to go home. Once all the votes were cast, Jimmy kept his word, stood up, and played his hidden immunity idol on Nate. To everyone's surprise, Autumn followed suit and played her hidden immunity idol on herself. And finally, Mason stands up, and he is ready to play a hidden immunity idol himself. But he already has safety. He won the competition. So who is he going to play it on? Mason turns to Matt and asks the classic Natalie question. Did you vote for who I told you to vote for? And some reason, Matt says, no, I did not. Mason was so awestruck, he reared back and threw that hidden immunity idol to Kingdom Come. He said, F this then, and sat back down and just let the votes fall. There was 1 vote for Nate, which was canceled due to the hidden immunity idol that was played for him, and the rest were for Matt, sending him home, making him the next member of the jury. And thus, we are down to our final 4, Mason, Autumn, Nate, and Jimmy. They managed to pick apart the devastating alliance, the Quack Pack, but now they're forced to turn on each other. And one fact remains. Mason tried to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. Mason had an idol that nobody else knew about, and tried to play it against Jimmy. It was also obvious that Mason was getting information from both sides and was ultimately using it for his benefactor. Everyone could see that Mason was playing very hard, but in doing so created the biggest target in the game. Everyone knew that Mason and Nate were very close, so Jimmy tried to seal the deal and force Nate to his side by telling Nate that he had a piece to Pandora's box. And speaking of Pandora's box, Matt was just voted out with one of the pieces. Therefore, he had to will it to somebody left in the game. Feeling sorry that he didn't do what Mason said, Matt gave a little apology by passing down his piece to Mason. In the final 4 immunity challenge, it was announced that this would be the final challenge of the season. So naturally, it's gotta be a tough one. And this challenge was the exact same final challenge as the Season 3 competition. Players would stand on a street lamp post for as long as possible with their shoes removed. Standing on the street lamp post in just your socks made it very slippery. If a player falls off, they are eliminated. The last player on the street lamp post will win immunity and a guaranteed spot to the final 3. At this point, from the outside looking in, it would appear that should Mason lose, he's done. His target is huge, Ray Charles could see it, but who knows, it's Survivor. Really, Mason wants Jimmy out. He would benefit the most should Jimmy go. But ultimately, Mason's down for anyone as long as it's not him. But Mason has one ace in the hole, one guiding savior that could help him along the way, and that is Nate. You see, Nate would benefit the most should Autumn go, because in the final 3, both Jimmy and Mason would want to take Nate to the end. So this final 4 immunity challenge was extremely crucial and one of the longest in all of Survivor Durant. First, Autumn slips off, then Jimmy steps off. Now we're down to Nate and Mason, and one of them accidentally slips after about 20 to 30 minutes, and that was Nate, making Mason the winner and a guaranteed spot in the final 3. You could see the relief on his face. He really needed it. After the craziness of last round, and Mason trying to pull a fast one on Jimmy, the paranoia of the game set in on Jimmy. Hurt and confused, Jimmy got in his head that Nate and Mason were pulling some shenanigans on him and were closer than Nate was letting on. You see, Jimmy thought that Nate was in on the plan of Mason taking a shot at him, and that Nate was only trying to get Jimmy to waste his idol on him. While this would be very entertaining, methodical, and exciting to watch, that couldn't be further from the truth. Nate was actually wanting to work with Jimmy. When it came down to votes at Tribal Council, whether it was because Mason convinced her, or she herself just realized that Jimmy was a social threat of some sort, Autumn decided to cast a vote against Jimmy with Mason. And Jimmy threw his vote at Nate. And Nate, wanting to stay loyal, cast his vote on Autumn, making the vote 2-1-1, sending Jimmy home. With Jimmy leaving the game, he had to will his Pandora's box piece to someone that was still in. And he noticed that not everyone voted against him. He realized that Nate was loyal to him after all. So he gave his Pandora's box piece to Nate, giving Nate 2 pieces and Mason 1. Now, we are down to our final 3, Nate, Mason, and Autumn. First, Nate. He's played a very under-the-radar, quiet, and reserved game. Him and Mason's game are pretty much night and day. Nate just let the game come to him. He made strong social connections with brand new people such as Jimmy and relied on them to get further in the game. We have seen a true player emerge in Nate, improving drastically since his first time playing. Next, we have Mason, the Survivor workhorse of the season. He started the game strong by finding a fake advantage and then the real hidden immunity idol. Mason was able to gather information from every player in the game to ultimately make decisions that best benefited him. And finally, we have Autumn, the social sneak of the game. Everyone had a great impression of her, shared a lot of information with her. No one had any beef with Autumn. Autumn's main strategy of the season was to make others around her feel like they were having fun. And they were having fun because of her. This gave everyone this happy-go-lucky, warm feelings inside about Autumn. Very clever. But now in the final 3, the power shifts to the Pandora's box pieces. Nate has Pan B and Roz X, while Mason has Do O. And here's how Pandora's box works. All Pandora's box pieces will be collected and put underneath a random cup, one of 3. Players will choose cups to look under. If the cup they look under has the Pandora's box pieces, then they collect all 3 and win the power of Pandora's box. With the power of Pandora's box, you have a couple options. You can either A, choose to vote someone out that's still in the game, or B, vote out a jury member. Your choice. Is the game ending in a final 2 or a final 3? Because Autumn had no Pandora's box pieces, she was omitted from this contest and therefore could not collect the power of Pandora's box. Because Nate had 2 Pandora's box pieces, he got to choose a cup first. He looked under it and it was empty. Now, Nate was given an option because again, he had 2 pieces. He could choose another cup, or he could defer to Mason and let Mason choose a cup. Nate chose to pick again, so he went with the second cup, and it was also empty. So Mason flipped over the third cup, got the pieces, and won the power of Pandora's box. Now here's the grand dilemma. Does Mason eliminate the competition by voting out either Autumn or Nate? Or does he get rid of someone on the jury that he just knows will not vote for him to win? After much deliberation, Mason came to a grand epiphany. Holy crap! Autumn is still in the game, and she hasn't done anything wrong. These people really like her. I need to get her out. And that's what Mason does. He chooses to use the power of Pandora's box and take it to a final 2 between him and Nate. And it turns out that was a good idea, because after the game, I asked the jury who they would have voted for, and it turns out Autumn would have won. Now we're left with Mason and Nate, our final 2. Both played an amazing game, very night and day from each other. One chased after the game, while the other let the game come to him. But it would appear that the jury wasn't as impartial as you would think. You see, Jacob, the leader of the Quack Pack, had this hatred hat on for Nate, and it was very apparent that all of Jacob's friends were going to vote however he did, was going to listen to what he said, and it would appear is going to be a landslide for Mason. However, after giving a rousing speech about being fair and listening to the final 2, hearing them out and giving everyone a fair shake, it would appear that everyone, including the Quack Pack, was voting on who they truly believed deserved to win the game. Nate received winning votes from his newfound friend Jimmy, as well as Dylan, while Mason got winning votes from Oliver and Matt. This meant that the winner would be determined by the Quack Pack leader, Jacob. I know what you're all are thinking. What about Autumn? Doesn't she get a say in this? Well, without knowing how many people were going to play this game, and seeing as the jury already had 5 members in it, and Autumn was going to make the 6th, we couldn't risk there being a tie. So, the new rule was, whoever got put into Pandora's box couldn't even vote for a winner. So sorry, Autumn. Now, where was I? Oh yes, Jacob, the Quack Pack leader in charge finally. And he voted for Mason to win the game. Congratulations, Mason. You are Survivor Durant's 4th champion. And for the record, Autumn was going to vote for Mason too, so Mason was going to win either way. It was Mason's sheer determination and understanding of the game that pushed him to the edge of victory. Nobody in all of Survivor Durant has the knowledge and understanding of Survivor like he does. Congratulations, Mason. It was well earned. Well, that wraps up the story of Season 4, Terror of the Troll. But did you catch the crazy Pandora's box twist in the game? Surely you did. That was a little nod to what we'll be doing next time. You see, Pandora's box is historically known in Greek mythology. So what happens if I put my spin on it? I'll see you in November when we archive Season 5, Mystery Island. Thank you so much for listening. Peace out.